What's up? What's going on, everyone? This is Josh from Football Talk with JB, and I'm joined by
Coach Dax Nunn, pass game coordinator, New Hope High School.
and he's well, you're fairly new to the New Hope area, right?
Right. So I just got board approved and hired last Thursday. So this past week was my first week of really getting my feet wet there and getting ingrained in the community.
Yes, sir. Have you had a chance to kind of meet some of the players and stuff? Could
Yeah. This past week was my first week. So I should have said a week from Thursday of last was the day I was board approved, but. We went this week. It was a dead week, so we really couldn't see what was really what you really had. But one of my best friends in the entire world just got that job. Michael Harper. He come from Hazel Green High School, where he's the offense coordinator, and so me and him talk frequently. And I wasn't really looking, to be honest with you, with leaving Faulkner. I was really content. It was a great opportunity that, I had always wanted to coach college football. And so when I got that opportunity, I wasn't looking to leave. And so, in late June, early July, Michael called me and, he had told me that he had gotten the head coaching job at New Hope. And so, we had always talked about when he got a head coaching job that kind of linked up with my schedule and linked up with his, that we would, we'd try to make something work. And so it was the opportunity. Like I said, I wouldn't have left Faulkner for anything else. Just getting the opportunity to work with a guy that I trust, work with a guy that I know, is going to be a fantastic opportunity. And so, like I said, this week was dead week, and so we had to hit the ground running in the weight room, but we couldn't hit the ground running with football-related activities. And so, if you look at the handbook that's given to you by the HSAA, Rule 33 tells you, and it's kind of a gray area, so you don't really know if you can get on the field. Can you get on the field? Can you not? And so, we just come to the conclusion that we're going to do what we think's right. And so we went workouts this week, and we got a really good team, man. Obviously 4A football, it's a community that cares about football. It's a close-knit community, and it's a community that's, been 4-6, 5-5 for the last couple of years, and they hadn't been able to make the playoffs. So our goal this upcoming year, man, is to put them in the playoffs. I mean, I think we got enough pieces offensively. We can be a really good football team, and so I'm looking forward to it. I got to meet some of the kids, man, and they're ready to win. They want to win. They're buying in. They're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so, if all goes well, I think we can get inside the playoffs this year.
Yes, sir. And it won't come easy because you got some very good teams in your region, and I mean you opened up the season with a really good team in Ohatchee, which is the first meeting between New Hope and Ohatchee ever. I was looking at the AHS FHS website, and yeah, it won't come easy. I'm not as familiar with that area as far as football wise, but yeah, I know some of those teams like Madison Academy and Westminster Christian, are very good football programs.
Yeah, so Ohatchee is a town that I'm really familiar with. My grandparents grew up in Ohatchee, and so I've always had ties to Ohatchee. My whole family's been big in that community. They're Calhoun County people, but they grew up back in the '60s in Ohatchee, Alabama, and so. Ohatchee is a community that cares about football. They care about athletics, and it goes on for years to go. And so, I've got people in my family that were 85 years old and they were still keeping up with the Ohatchee Indians. And so, it was a surreal moment to see them on the schedule. I've never had the opportunity to coach against them, but to be able to go to Ohatchee and to play them and to know the history that they have and the history that they've made, and it's going to be very exciting. They're a really good football team. They're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to give you all they got. But we got to be physical back. That's what I've told our kids. That we got a really good test of who we are week 0. You go to Ohatchee, they're going to hit you in the mouth. They're going to expect you to lay down, and they're going to expect to do what they want to do to you. And so if you can counteract that and play physical as well, you got a shot. And so tremendous respect for Ohatchee. Like I said, they got a community that cares about football. They're going to pack it out, and so we got to be prepared for that. Our schedule is really tough. We're in a region where you don't get very many non-region games, and so you got those guys, like you said, Madison Academy. You got North Jackson. You got Madison County. You got Randolph. And I know there's some teams that I'm leaving off, but that's a really tough schedule, and it's a really tough region. And Huntsville football in 4A, in my opinion, is better than 7A football. I think Madison Academy, and you look at people like Mars Hill in 3A, I think they're just as good as some of those 6, 7A Huntsville teams. And I think that if you look back at schedules, you'll see just how good those Madison Academy teams have been in the past. And those private school teams in the Huntsville area. And so, whoever comes out of that region, 1 through 4 is going to be tested. And, I honestly think that a team in our region that, could be the 3rd or 4th seed could go and beat a 1 or 2 seed in another region. I don't know what region we match up with, but, this is a tough region. And, if there's a 4A region in this state, North Alabama football, that's better than this region, I'd love to see it because, North Jackson's expecting to have a really good year. Madison Academy expects to have a really good year. Westminster expects to have a really good year. Randolph's done things that, have really surprised me as a coach. I mean, Coach, the guy up there, man, he comes in and he changes the whole trajectory of his program. And, he was coming from a place where he changed the trajectory there. And so he's a really good football coach. Those kids are going to expect to win. St. John Paul's coming in with a new football coach. They're going to expect to win. They had a pretty good year last year. And so whoever makes it out, honestly, out of that region that we're in, I think they have a really good shot to win in the playoffs. I don't think it's I'm a 4th seed, I'm going to a 1 seed, I'm going to get beat by 40. I think it's I'm a 4th seed and I can go play with that 1 seed because a lot of teams, and it's like this in Birmingham area 7A as well, but you go look at some of those 7A teams in Birmingham that are finishing 4th or 5th in the region. A 5th team in the region of the Hoover, Thompson, Hewitt, Trussville region, they go to Huntsville and probably finish 1st or 2nd in that region. So, I think our region in 4A football is as good as it gets. Now, I don't know how good the South regions are, but if somebody would like to tell me that we have a region in North Alabama football that's better than ours in 4A, I'd love to see it because, our football here is really tough.
Oh yes, sir. Top to bottom, the region is very tough, and that's the other thing. A lot of these regions are top heavy. This region's definitely far from top heavy. As far as matchup, I don't quote me on it, but I believe y'all are Region 8, right?
I'm not exactly sure. I just know who we're in the region with. I don't really know exactly the region number that we're in.
I believe y'all are Region 8, and yeah, Region 8, and then I think that would match y'all up with Region 7, which is like Brooks and West Morgan and Deschler, so that would create some very good matchups.
Yeah, so, West Morgan has done a good job. Coach Drew Phillips has done a really good job. Deschler is a team that is, in my opinion, a blue blood. I think that they, have shown that they're consistent, and so, yeah, I mean, that's, swapping with that region, that's another tough region. I mean, that's another team like Deschler, West Morgan, those guys, those are teams that are going to be well tested when they come out in the playoffs. So, yeah, I think that's going to make up for some interesting matchups. But our main goal is we're not really considering or, concerned with, who we match up with. We want to get there. So when we get there, we'll worry about who we're going to match up with. But for right now, we got to focus on Hatchie and what we're going to do here in about 33 days.
Yes, sir. It's not, the next game's always the most important game.
I agree.
All right, so I wanted to get into like a little bit of your coaching history and stuff. So could you tell us a little bit about some of the places you've been and the culture there?
Yeah, so I grew up in Gadsden, Alabama, and I've been a Gadsden guy my entire life. I never moved, and so coming out of high school, I went to Westbrook Christian, played for Coach Shay Monroe, who's now the offense coordinator at Oxford, and played for head coach Brian Mintz, who had been the head coach at Southside and Ragland and some other places, and so. coming out of high school, the day that I met Shea Monroe, when he became our head football coach at Westbrook in 2016, I knew, that I really looked up to him. I really wanted to be a football coach because of somebody like him. And so, I transferred to Westbrook Christian from Southside High School, and I had a really good relationship at Southside with Ron Daugherty, who was the head football coach there for a long time, and he had really, piqued my interest in becoming a football coach, because when I was in, ninth grade, I thought he was the coolest guy that I'd ever met. And so, he was coming off a year where he took a team that had, rarely even made the playoffs at Southside. He took them to the semifinals. They had a really good year. Had a running back there by the name of Valeric Williams, who is now the offensive coordinator at Coosa Christian, who was a four-star guy that signed with Auburn, and they had a fantastic team. And so I really looked up to him. And so when I graduated high school, I knew that I wanted to coach football. The only problem with that was I hated to go to school. So I didn't know, that, oh, man, I got to go 4 years of college if I'm going to coach football for a living, because it's, that's what you got to do. You got to have that piece of paper with your name on it. And so I enrolled in school, and I really wanted to coach. I didn't care what it was. And so I had met with Coach Daugherty, and my senior year, and he had sat down and said, look, he said, I've got a really good opportunity for you. I want you to be my film guy. I want you to be in charge of, our film crew, getting things broke down. And so that's what I agreed to do. I wanted to coach, so I agreed to do that in 2018. That was the year I graduated high school, was in 2018. And so I agreed to do that. I just wanted to be a football coach. And so there was a guy by the name of Robbie Davis, who's now the head baseball coach at Gadsden City, who was a running backs coach then. And when I got to Southside, man, Robbie absolutely just despised me. I don't know what it was about me. I guess I got on his nerves. But he never wanted to have anything to do with me. And I think gradually as the season went along, I was kind of like something you couldn't get rid of. And so I kind of grew on him. We started to get more and more close as the year went on. And so by week 6 or 7, I had the film thing figured out. I had a couple guys that were injured on the football team. They were going to film the games. I was sitting inside the press box with a headset on with Coach Davis. And so I wanted to, look the part. I wanted to be the part. I wanted to hear what was going on. And so my first year of coaching, that's exactly what we did. And so, that was my first taste of, heck, man, I really want to do this, And, we went to, we had a crazy turnaround that year. We were sitting at 1-4, ended up finishing the season 7-5, went to the second round of the playoffs. And so we really turned that team around. We beat a lot of teams that we weren't supposed to beat. And so that really gave me a taste on why I wanted to be a football coach. Just seeing Coach Daugherty, turn that program at that point in time. It was a pivotal moment. We had lost to Helena 14-7 in a game that we could have won. We were sitting at 1-4, and I'll never forget coming inside the field house after the game and looking at the coaches' faces like, what the heck are we going to do? We're sitting at 1-4. We hadn't made the playoffs. They had not made the playoffs in 2 to 3 years. Like, what are we going to do to fix this? And so, we come out the next week, man, and we go play Douglas, and we get a win. We go play Alexandria, we get a win. We go play Boaz, who was at the time ranked in the top 10 in the state. We go get a win at their place. And so it was a catapulted moment, man, that, okay, this thing can really be turned. And so that was the most pivotal moment of my coaching career. And so, when I talk about my career and, getting started, I can't say anything without saying Coach Ron Daugherty and Southside High School. And that was the last Southside football team that has won a playoff game. And since Coach Daugherty has been gone, he left in 2009 after the 19 year, become the principal at West End High School, and just recently retired. And they've had a lot of really good football teams there, they've had a lot of really good football teams, a lot of really good football coaches. Miles Holcomb, who's at Tuscaloosa County, was their head football coach there. He had a lot of really good teams, but those teams never made it over the hump that our team in 2018, what we were able to accomplish. And so, tremendous respect for him. Tremendous respect for him. Tremendous respect for his coaches. Tremendous respect for his administrators. And that opportunity really catapulted me into becoming a football coach. And so at the end of the 2018 season, a guy that I had knew from Westbrook Christian, I had went to school with his son, had got the head coaching job at Westbrook, Coosa, And he come to me and was like, look, man, I'd love to have you. You can coach varsity football here. And so, an opportunity for me to be able to be a varsity football coach at 19 years old was, obviously I'm going to take that. It was a volunteer role. I got no pay, but I just wanted to coach football. And so in 2019, we had a 1-9 year, and that one win probably was something that if we'd have played that team 10 times over again, we wouldn't have got. And so we were a football team that were battling a lot of things off the field, man. We were battling, kids coming out, kids staying out, being able to field a football team, having enough kids to be able to field a team, because at that time we were, scheduled to play a spring game and couldn't play it because we didn't have enough kids on the team. And so those little things like that really, made me understand that coaching isn't about the money, coaching isn't about the success. It's about touching what you got and touching the lives of kids. And so, and when after the 19 year, we rolled around in 20, and we all know what 2020 brought. It brought the COVID pandemic. And so, we come into 2020, and the guy that I was there with in 2019 decides he's going to become the basketball coach. He's a basketball guy, and he's going to become the basketball coach. And so we, knew that there was a guy that had helped us out the year before. He hadn't coached, but he had kind of advised. And I was really shy and timid of him because I knew he was a former Navy SEAL, and that's Mark O'Brien, who's the head football coach at Coosa Christian now. And so I knew then, that he was going to be the head coach. I was a little nervous, and I had been the JV head coach and the varsity running backs coach the year before, and I was just nervous around Coach O'Brien. And so, he brings me in and he says, "Look, man," he says, "I'm going to throw a lot on your plate." He says, "But I want you to be my associate head coach, my co-offensive coordinator, and my O-line coach." And I said, "Coach, you got it." And I felt like I had just hit the lottery, man. And, and to remind you, this is still a volunteer position. When Coach O'Brien got there, there was no money there. The money was absolutely zero. And when I say zero, I mean absolutely. You couldn't have bought a mouthpiece with the athletic fund money that Coosa had in 2020 when O'Brien took over. And so he comes in and he starts to turn the program. He really does. He starts to turn the program, and his first thing that was said to us is that, "Hey, man, I'm not a loser. I've never been a loser, and we're not going to be losers here." And he made the statement that, "Hey, you better get us now if you're going to get us, because you're not going to get us in 3 or 4 years. You better get us right now if that's what you're going to do, because if you're not going to get us now, you're not going to get us in 3 to 4 years." And so, it really was a turning point in my career. Being able to have that much responsibility, being able to work for a guy that had been very successful. He had been the offensive coordinator at Oxford. He had been with John Gross, who is now an offensive analyst at Clemson, who was the head football coach for many years and had a lot of success at Jacksonville State. And so, being with a guy that had been around really successful people, I think pushed me to try to be the best that I could be. And, that first year that we were there, we didn't see a lot of results. We were 3-7. We were in the middle of a pandemic. You couldn't even be around your kids in the summer hardly. You get out of school in March and you don't see them again until June. And so it was really tough. It was extremely tough for us. We were just lucky to get 10 ball games in. We really were. We didn't miss a ball game, and that was, rare to say, because a lot of teams had a lot of forfeits that year, and we didn't. We got 10 ball games, and I think a lot of it had to do with us playing 1A football. I really do. And so, in 2020, like I said, man, we didn't have much success. But it was just the opportunity to coach, and be around, a really good football coach. And so turning the corner in 21, we come out and we decide that, not only are we going to change the face of our program, we're going to change the color scheme of our program. And so, Coosa, I don't know if you're familiar with their history, but they hadn't always been Carolina blue, and they hadn't always had the Coosa with the cursive under logo there that they have now. They hadn't always had the peace sign. It used to be a conqueror head that looked just like San Jose State. And so we come in December of 20, going into the 21 physical year, and so we decide we're going to change it. O'Brien says, I hate those colors, I hate that logo, we're going to change it. Now, keep in mind, this is a school, man, that has been the same since 1972. So if you do the math on that, that's almost 50 years of doing the same thing every single year. You got a guy that's been there less than a year, and he's coming in here and changing stuff. So, that just kind of shows you exactly who, Coach O'Brien is. He's a guy that, he's gonna push forward against anything and everything if he thinks that that's what it takes to be successful. And I think at that point, the people inside that community, the people inside that school, they didn't ever look at the big picture. I don't think that they ever looked at the big picture. I think they looked at now, and I think that Coach O'Brien not only got them to understand that, okay, there's a bigger picture here that we're trying to accomplish. And I think that that's what, if you had to ask me what I think he did the best, and I think that was getting those people that had been there that many years to open their mind and to understand that, you have no tradition, you have no history, we're going to make history. And so, that was important to him. And he fought so many battles, man. I was beside him every single day, and he fought so many battles, just over, just trying to get somebody to be open-minded. And so, we go into 21, and we're looking to have a really big year. We opened up with Westbrook Christian. They got a really good football coach in Drew Knowles, who had been at Etowah and been at Boaz and some other places. And so, we really understood that was a make-or-break game for us. I felt like it was a make-or-break game. I'm not sure everybody on staff thought it was a make-or-break game. But I felt like it was a make-or-break game. I felt like we were a lot better football team in 21 than we were in 20. And I felt like that, we were disrespected a little bit. That's my alma mater. That's where I went to school. I grew up around those coaches and those kids. But I felt like we were disrespected. I do. I felt like we weren't respected. I still feel like, coming from the Gadsden community, that Coosa isn't respected. But I think that, going into that game, was a crucial turning point in our season. A new color scheme, a new logo, a new everything, new uniforms, everything was different. And we go into that game, we get completely just clobbered. We didn't belong on the field with them. We weren't better than they were. And so at that point, we had to kind of, turn back and say, okay, what have we done wrong? What did we not do right? Because we expected to compete in this ball game. I didn't say that we were going to win, but I expected to compete in the ball game. What did we do wrong? And so, we got into a situation there in 21 where, things just didn't go our way, man. They just didn't. We had a last-second touchdown to beat us against Galesville. We had an overtime loss to Whitesburg Christian. We go to Gatlinburg-Pittman and get beat 56-7. And so things just kind of didn't mesh the way we expected them to mesh in 21. And so at the end of the 21 year, I left. I took a job at Fultondale High School with Kendrick Cook, who played at Mississippi State and had coached at West Florida and coached at Mississippi State and some other places. And so I go to Fultondale. I'm in Birmingham, and that's my first real taste of coaching in the public school system in Jefferson County. And so I go there, and you know, the tornado situation at Fultondale, they don't have a school, they don't have a stadium. You're sharing a stadium with Tarrant. You're practicing at Tarrant High School, so the odds are already stacked against you before the season even starts. And so, you know, that was a really bad year. You know, we weren't a really good football team. We were a really bad football team in 22 at Fulton. And if you look back at our schedule, it'll tell you that we weren't a very successful football team. We didn't have a lot of, you know, good success. Etowah was in that region; they were really good. Cherokee County, who I believe went to the state championship in 22. I could be wrong. If they didn't, they were right there at it. And so those teams were in that region with us, and it was just tough, man. And so, you know, at the end of 22, it was a really pivotal moment in my career because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was really discouraged. I was coming off a year where we went 0-10, and I don't even know if we scored 80 points in 10 ball games. And so, you know, it was a really discouraging moment. And, you know, the greatest opportunity that I ever got as a football coach was going to work at Sylacauga High School with Chris Smelly. You know, I had no thought in my mind that I would ever get hired by a guy like Chris Smelly. He'd been a tremendous success at ACA in Tuscaloosa. He'd been at Hoover the previous year. And so, you know, I went and interviewed with him in June of 23, and he said, look, man, he said, I'd love to have you as my tight ends coach. And so, you know, the opportunity to coach with those guys, and I can talk about Sylacauga, you know, for 4 hours or 5 on here. I could talk all day about Sylacauga and what they mean to me. I'll honestly say, man, that Sylacauga High School is the best job that I've ever had, and I'll say that. The community, the support, the people, the coaches, the administration, everything from top to bottom was the best that I've ever been around. And so, you know, we didn't have a lot of success last year. We were 2-8, had a ball game against Beauregard that we had won. We were up 38-16, man, with about 5 minutes left to go in the ball game. We lose that ball game 39-38. Craziest thing I'd ever seen. But the opportunity to coach with somebody like Chris Smelly and, you know, just the opportunity to be a part of the Sylacauga community meant so much to me. It means so much to me today. And, you know, I'm excited to be here at New Hope. But ultimately, I'll never be, you know, able to express my gratefulness and my thankfulness to be able to work at Sylacauga High School with Chris and all those guys down there in Aggieland. But when I left Sylacauga, I took a job at Faulkner University as a tight ends coach. And, you know, I kind of started out, you know, roles reversed because I started talking about New Hope and Faulkner before I started talking about my whole coaching career. But you know, nothing but positive things to say about Faulkner. Rob Gray does a good job. It was just the opportunity to go coach with a guy like Michael Harper, who is a tremendous friend, has been a tremendous support system for me as a young football coach. And so the opportunity to go work for him, you know, was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. And so, you know, I know my coaching career has not been, you know, it's not been like a lot of guys. You know, there's been a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of talk. But, you know, at the end of the day, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Because I'm a guy that, you know, just to be frank with you, I don't really care about any other's opinion. And so, you know, I'm going to do what's best for me, and I'm going to do what's best for my career. And, you know, if you don't like that, then that's your problem. But, you know, just the opportunity to go to work for Michael has been a tremendous honor and opportunity. And so, we're excited, man. We are. This is a year that we got a really good chance to be really, really good. And it's just fitting those pieces together and trying to get the puzzle right.
Yes, sir. And you said class of 2018. I was also part of the. I was of course, graduated from Reeltown, but class of 2018 as well. So, you're about the same age as I am.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that you were able to see. My thing, I ended up. I thought I was just gonna go work for my entire life, but I've come to realize I'm not happy doing that. So, like I said, but hopefully by the beginning of next year, I'll be able to enroll myself in college and go ahead and start working towards my dreams. And that's the goal. I'm glad that you were able to get into it as early as you did, and I wish I went the same route, to be honest.
Well, man, I think God has a plan for everybody, man, and I think your plan's is sovereign, brother. And I think that, it doesn't matter if you start at 14 or you start at 44. If you're doing what you love to do, then that's all that matters. And I wish you as much success as you possibly have. I look forward to following your journey, man. I look forward to getting to know you more, and I appreciate you for having me on today.
Oh yes, sir. I appreciate you for coming on, and I'll be keeping in touch, Coach.
All right, thanks. Appreciate you, man. Go Indians.
Oh yes, sir. Go Rebels. All right, guys. That was Coach Dax Nunn, the passing game coordinator at New Hope High School. I really appreciate having him on, and I wish New Hope a lot of success this year. And with that being said, thank y'all all for watching. Peace out, everybody.